Aloha Kohala. It's 3 o'clock here on September 1st, 2021. You're listening to KNKR LP 96.1 FM Kohala. This is Eila Allgood with
Michál, Anna.
And we are here to do Intuitive Talk Story. So much going on. It's September. We're in another new month, new energies.
It is fall. It is a time to plant new seeds and to shed the old. And I myself am having a birthday tomorrow.
That's pretty exciting. Happy birthday, Michál.
It is the end of a year and the beginning of a new one.
Mm-hmm.
And in that way, thank you. And and so planting new seeds and shedding the old, right? What does that mean to you? And another concept that we were kind of just tossing around is, we're in a time of, I'm going to say it, spiritual warfare. And what does that mean to you? And who is that war with? And ultimately, I'm going to say it's with the self and controlling our own thoughts, minds, experience, and putting energy where we want it to go. But we're kind of thinking about different thoughts around that spiritual battle. What does it mean to be ready to be in spiritual battle? What does that mean to be prepared within thyself?
Well, and is there another, so as you're talking about that, I'm thinking, we've been in kind of this war mentality for many, many thousands of years. How could I, as someone who likes different kinds of languages, reframe that in a way that doesn't feel so warlike?
Right.
Yeah, how could I look at that so I'm not looking at it with that old paradigm of fight and battle and war, but and that's just me. I'm not saying you shouldn't or anyone else. It's just something that came to me. Maybe somebody else out there can resonate with that. And what language can we use maybe a little different? And I put that out to you, Michál, as well as anyone who's listening. Call at 808-884-5657.
Yes, please call in. Join us in this conversation. It is a great conversation. And I agree with you, Eila. Let's put it another way. Let's think of it this way, because actually when we do think of warfare, we think of out there. So if you've been listening to our talks, we often talk about it being nobody out there. And you hear me often say that, and it's just really about the self. So we can see that spiritual warfare that exists outside the self, or the perceptions of our good and evil. But if we take that within the self and we actually look at our own selves, we realize that there are shadow pieces of ourself. If we're willing to meet them and move through them, see them, forgive them, experience them, and we'll talk more about this. But then we get into we're not in warfare, we are in the creation of unity.
Yes.
So
unity
we are becoming unified. So we come from a spiritual warfare, which some people out there, you may really relate to that. And I know I have in many ways too, in times of my life. But I actually say it so that we can get to unity, which is because there's a lot out there going on and we can perceive it in a lot of different ways. But if we ultimately perceive that God is all that is, then everything is about bringing itself into wholeness. And that is you, me, all beings get to bring their pieces into wholeness, and therefore bringing God into more wholeness of itself, if that can resonate with you, into the field of unity. In essence, unity is the goal.
Yeah, unity. And as you were talking about shadow, I was thinking, what would be an example of that for myself? And one of the things that I sometimes find myself as a behavior that I consider a shadow is I emotionally disconnect and distance when something gets too much. And I want to look at that. That's not something I want to continue to do. So that's just me. That's something that I think about. How can I shift that? How can I be present with somebody that I'm not comfortable with the conversation, but still be present emotionally, taking care of myself without that really disconnect, like unplug completely?
Well, the problem there is
yes,
it's back
dear.
to the self, because it's not really about you. If I'm having a conversation with you, let's say, anything that I might be a person, let's say a person that's you're having one with that's maybe not understanding you. We'll take me out of that. and they're not understanding what you're saying. Well, that's coming from a whole lot of their own information. It really has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
So that would require actually a lot of personal skills on their part first to have the then care to be able to navigate paying attention to you in a conscious manner.
Right.
So it first means doing the inner work in the self that realizes I want to even interact or engage in a conscious manner with another human.
Right.
Because most people aren't really making that a priority in their day-to-day existence. That, so first it stems from our self-work to be authentic with one another, really authentic. Actually, I was talking to someone not long ago, and I was just speaking truthfully, like I do.
Yes, you do.
And sweetly. I mean, I've some, I can be slicey at times, but I have really worked on just delivering sweetly. But we were just talking. But anyway, the person looked at me and said, normal people don't talk like this. They don't really just say this. And I went like, wow, really? I didn't realize that was a rule. I didn't know.
As a normal.
I didn't really know.
Yeah.
And I realized because most people honestly are pretending.
Yeah.
You kind of don't, you say, Betsy messes you up or something. You don't tell Betsy. You're like, okay, great. Thanks, Betsy. And they walk away and they're like, oh, God, did you see what she did? Blah, blah, blah. Right? They might tell their friend about it or tell someone else about it or maybe bitch about it in yourself, but not really speak it. And I will, on the other hand, I'm like,
you'll call it.
I will. I'll call it. I'll say it. And I'm not mean when I say things at this point, but I'll speak the truth of what I'm seeing if it's appropriate. If it's really not appropriate, I don't. Because that gets into other places. But if it's
right, it is being authentic.
Being authentic.
It all starts with you, though. I mean, it
Yeah.
all starts in here. So it's hard to be authentic with someone else if you're not being authentic with yourself.
That's my point.
That was that
That
story
was my point. That was my
Nice.
story point, was that unless a person is being able to be authentic with themselves, they're not going to be able to meet you there. So that takes us back again to self-work, which everything leads us back to the path of one, the path of the self. And we can think, oh, well, it's out there, and I don't have time for this, I don't have time for that. But this is where everything is created. This is where everything is planted, where the magic happens here. It happens within thyself. And so that's where we want to cultivate our time and realize that that small amount of time you cultivate there is going to magnify in your external world as you peel away those layers and choose to meet that shadow self. And it's not easy to do. And, actually, I have a powerful sister spiritual group that I'm working with and leading. And we were talking recently, and one of the sisters just brought up she said, I'm going to be honest with myself. And it was like, yeah, I had to be real honest with myself. Like, and whoa, when I'm honest with myself, this is what actually comes out. And that's real, it takes power and courage to be honest with yourself.
It really does.
To realize, wow, you know what? That's me. And that's what it is. It's that real recognition. You know what? If I'm really honest with myself, if I really am honest, and that's the kind of feeling you got to start having about doing your own inner discovery. Think of it as an inner discovery of all the things you've ever been, of all the things you've engaged in. And it's really a collection of experiences and understandings, whether it's this life or past lives, no matter how horrible you may have been. The most evil of evils, there is always the opportunity to feel it and let it go. Right? To experience and let it go, to acknowledge, you know what? I was a real jerk. I'm a jerk. I've had to tell myself that in a lot of harsher words, and acknowledge it. Like, that's me. That's what I do. And I don't want to do that. I have to be honest with myself and say, I don't want to behave like that. I don't want to have interactions like that. I don't want that to be my reality. And I'm the one that can change that. And why is that my reality? Now we get into why am I activating that? And that gets into a lot of things we've talked about before, which is really inner child work, or meeting yourself at different parts of your life and going back to memories or experiences, and ultimately forgiving yourself and forgiving any character within your movie for whatever, and allowing yourself to be honest about it. And you are reclaiming your own energy as you realize that nothing has power over you unless you give it power.
Mm-hmm. As you were talking, I was thinking of the word justification. I know throughout my life there have been times where either myself or someone else interacting with me or someone else justifying certain behaviors and saying, well, but she said that and he did this, and so of course I was going to be like that. And I've had the saying, I don't know, for a lot of my adult life, is there is no excuse for bad behavior. And that's to me, I say that in the mirror. I don't say that to anyone else because they need to figure out their story. But when I think about it that way, it's like if someone is offended, seriously feels hurt or saddened by some action that I've taken, then it's important to me to look at it. Is it everything that I'm doing? I don't know, but I need to look at it. I want to be responsible for that, for what energy and what words and what concepts I'm putting out to somebody else.
That's so big, because see, when you first do that, then you realize too that, when triggers are happening and where someone's feeling not good and then you're not feeling good, or we're both not feeling good, so we say things we don't mean to say, then we get triggered more by the things that are said. And the tendency is then to focus on these details, like you just said, but she said this, he said that, and but wait, I just want to tell you, but did you hear me say this? Right. I heard you say all of it. And yes, I understand you say yes, but we want to start listening to the details and the voice, because the voices start getting like real detail oriented, real nitpicky. Yeah. And so this is where you draw into the feeling, like and that's where coming into like put your hands on your body, breathe, take a breath, shut down the mind, and breathe and feel like, okay. And you have to like make yourself in that moment. It's not going to be easy if you're really triggered. It's difficult. You have to force yourself. You will want to resist. You will want to do anything but go through that door. You want to do everything else. I'm going to play a game. I'm going to watch a movie. I'm going to go garden, whatever. That's what you'd rather do. But right now, it's alive. You are feeling it. And right now, it's out. It's like the fire is burning. And if you see what's there and look in the fire, you're going to see it. You're going to bring light into the darkness. Otherwise, it's just going to crumble back down and put out and go back underneath everything where you can't see it anymore.
The burning embers.
And then they'll just sit there until they flame again. Oh my God. Okay. It's active. Okay. So you can bring the water of life to that fire. You can breathe loving light of the waters of life, the living water, over that fire, and realize that there's nothing for you to ever be offended for, because everyone's really just fighting with themselves. I mean, everyone's just taking them. We're all taking everyone's concerned with themselves. You're on your own journey with yourself. And that's really the true battle, is with the mind, with your own mind, our own feelings, programs, traumas. And if we release the traumas, we release the false programming, we release the societal program, we release the programming that's been implanted from various places, our genes, our ancestral lineages, cultural programming, and so many things. We tear those pieces apart to reveal what? You, the brilliant, divine light being, which cannot be destroyed, ever. It is the living light. And so you wash it with the living light, that fire. You wash it with the living light by greeting the moment, by being willing to go inward and put your hands on your body, to take a breath and ask what's really going on. Why am I really feeling like this? And then if you listen and breathe, you will get an answer. You will feel it. Oh, I don't feel like I'm good enough. Oh, I don't feel like I'm worthy. Or, oh, my dad yelled at me. Or, oh, this happened with my mother. Whatever it might be. You'll start to engage in that. And that's really what's coming up. A feeling is coming up. It's engaging and it's hitting some sort of wound. And if they're really traumatic and super shadow self, it's going to be hard to get in there. So you have to stay with it. You have to drive the vessel. You have to be in control of your evolvement. And you have to be hungry.
Willingness.
Yes.
There needs to be that willingness to go to the difficult places. You know, the wonderful thing about life is things constantly change. So even in that place where you feel, maybe you're feeling a lot of pain and angst, it's not going to stay. And especially if you go there and go deep into it and think about it and write about it and talk about it, even with yourself, you're going to move that energy and it's going to release something. And on the other side of that, you'll be able to take a deep breath and just feel into yourself. Somebody said to me today, we were talking about some things going on in the world out on the road, and they said, it's so challenging now. How do people know what to do? Because there's all this messaging, and I said, intuition, where's your intuition? And he was like, yes, I know, that's what I feel. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I feel it in inside of me, even though I'm being told something outside that disagrees with it. And that's why this time, more than any time in my 61 years, it's so important for us to know what our intuition is telling us, aside from what our parents say, our kids say, our friends say, the media says, the government says. What do you hear? Just get that voice first. You can argue with it later, but get it, hear it, feel it, trust it, know it. It's you. It's, like Michál said so many times, it's all about you. This is, this life is your life to live how you want to live it, not how anyone else wants you to live it. So that's my intuition rant.
Woo, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Because I'm going to go a step further on intuition, and I'm going to just say source. Someone was asking me the other day, what's your motivation on your path? And when you think about it, we were talking about what is it really about? Like, what's it really about? And I said, well, it's not about recycling, although I recycle, right? It's not really what motivates me. It's not doing all the programming or dance, but although I love to do those things, what is it that motivates me? It's God, source, the light, the divine one, infinite creator, whatever name you would like to say. I would say, you could tone it out, Karaya Sata'ala, the infinite, all that is. That has been the motivator. That is what's kept me. That is what's, in times of darkness, it's just me. And that's just me and Creator God. And it's me humbling my face on the ground. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. It is me, where there is light, there can be no darkness, claiming the light of God. And that, quite honestly, has to be the hunger, has to be the motivator. If that is not this is not a judgment. It's just, to me, I don't know how you can get through all these things without that hunger for God, for the light, for infinite unity, for infinite peace within the self. It is that which you seek. It is that which you pray for each day. It is that which your every word, every action is laid out so that I might be the vessel of divinity, a vessel and a humble servant of the infinite one. That's really the motivator. And it's what has held me in every place I've been, and continue to peel the layers away and to know. And that's why I say with conviction, the living light cannot be destroyed, for it is all that is. And that is the foundation. And with that as the foundation,
anything's possible.
Everything
possible.
Is.
Yeah. And as you were talking about it, and you said the foundation, and it really is the underlying, underneath of everything that I do in my day-to-day life, whether it's taking a walk because it's good for my body, or it's being here on the radio talking with you, or playing music for people, or interacting on the street. It's like, well, why do I talk to strangers? Well, because maybe they'll smile under their mask while we're talking. Maybe somebody sees them for a moment, because they're as much the divine as I am.
They're another yourself.
That's it. That's the mirror, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so really important to understand for yourself, whoever's listening, what is underneath all of your day-to-day busyness or actions or problems, that you seem to have problems or challenges or confusion. What's under it for you? Why do you think you're here? I remember asking that question when I was like 15 in some church group, and they just stared at me. They were like, what do you mean, what are you here for? Like, that wasn't the place to get the answers. I later learned I needed to go find my answers outside of that place, which was fine. But yeah, what is it? What is it about for you in your life? Why do you feel you're here? What do you have to, what do you want to experience?
And you can simplify that, I would say, because that's a loaded question. If you're like, wow, I was just trying to deal with my trauma. Now what am I doing? Why am I here? First, peel away the layers. And as you go, why you are here will be revealed unto thee. Because you don't have to know anything. You actually know everything. You are the divine living light. You know everything already. You're just peeling things away from you that aren't you, and things that have been placed on you that aren't you, and implants and all sorts of energetics that aren't you, and programming that isn't you, so that you can reveal the brilliancy that is you. And in that revealing, you will know, because you are connected to divine living light. And that is the most knowledgeable living computer of all. It's the information highway. It's where everything is. It's the knowledge base of all things. So when next time someone asks you, what's the source? You say, the living infinite creator. I am connected to the infinite living light. And I am the source of this information.
If that resonates for you. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Well, let's just make this disclaimer so Eila doesn't have to say that.
Well, we do. I was just watching. I was watching somebody else.
Best for you.
Yeah.
These are just ideas.
We bring nuggets, and you take them and you say, "Oh yeah, that feels like that's me. That's going to take me someplace." Or, "Yeah, that doesn't resonate for me." What she's saying. Yeah.
Of course.
Great.
Take what you need and leave the rest.
There you
I'm
go.
unattached and amused. It's all, all like what flows for you, what resonates for you. If it doesn't, it does. Discard it. Use what's good. Sparks an idea that something else. And that just brings up a great point. There's no point. We're not trying to be like one another. There's no person you're supposed to be like. You're supposed to be like, you. So I don't have the answers for your piece. I can just spark and reflect things that remind you of what you already know. And you have your own infinite amount of information and computer and experiences to draw on. So my language sounds like one thing, but when you speak it, it sounds like something else, but we're saying the exact same thing because it's the truth. And it's the resonation of getting to your truth so that we're speaking the same language in that way.
And I think while you were talking, one of the things that I've been feeling is that the duality that's going on right now in the world of the us versus them, the good versus bad, it keeps us out of that unity consciousness. It separates us rather than unifying us. So let's look for ways to unite. What can we agree on? What can we unite around? Where we come from, the divine light that we all are. Look for things and values. We were talking before, I was saying 2 words that were up for me was harmony and freedom. And then you said something like, well, freedom might not be up for somebody else. And it's like, yeah, maybe it's not. So how do you know what out there, how do you know what value is important to you? How do you get to that?
Right. And how are you cultivating that experience? So whatever is important to you, how are you showing up to cultivate that experience? If it's, if it's harmony, then how are you creating harmony in your life? How are you really resonating on a daily basis? Truth, freedom, these are big words, and they're up right now.
They sure
in
are.
the world. So the more you know yourself, the more you can stand for your own truth and your own body, mind, spirit, and your own natural living self. So may you be empowered to do so.
We're going to take a station break and come right back with some more intuitive talk story here at KNKR.
North
Yeah.
Kohala.
We're not even what's
Kohala
right.
Cares
Let's say what
has moved
works
its
for
weekly
me.
food
What
drive
works
to
for
the
me,
hub
what
parking
really,
lot.
infuses me,
Those
what
in need
inspires
can
me,
drive
what
to
really
the
makes me
parking
feel
lot
alive.
and pick
We
up
want
a
to
bag
focus
of
on what
groceries.
makes, we could use that
Pickup
word, what makes us
begins
feel
at
alive.
5:30
Yeah.
every Wednesday. Please wear a mask. Donations, especially produce, will be accepted Wednesday from 11 to 3. We want to thank all our donors and volunteers for making all this happen. Remember, we're all in this together. Mahalo.
DJ Analisa Remix Bisayan Budot. Tagalog Larawang Kupas. And to these hits, Lane and Dub. Only here, Pinay Stereo Hits. Every Thursday, 11 to 1. Dito sa KNKR 96.1 FM. Kohalas. Okay.
You're back here with KNKR LP 96.1 FM Kohala. This is Eila Allgood with... Say it again.
Oh, Michál, Anna.
Sorry, I had your mic off. And it's Intuitive Talk Story. We're with you till 4 o'clock. It's 3:27 here on September 1st, starting a new month. We've been talking about light and shadow and unity and new day and intuition and saying that everyone out there, you all have the answers. We're here to bring up the questions.
Ooh, I like that. And I kind of wanted to go back into that shadow self because we were talking about that and what does it mean to be spiritually ready for battle. And that's really now we've defined as the battle within the self. How do you reclaim your own unity and how do you empower the self in unification with God, the infinite source, your source energy, your light, your source. So many words. And so that empowerment is really about when meeting our shadow. We talked about that. We could probably put into that anywhere that you want to resist. So anytime you resist, you're blocking yourself from seeing something. So whenever we get triggered, that trigger is like, what? Excuse me? Huh? Any feeling that makes you react and contract, right? Any feeling that makes you want to push away, like, excuse me, that feeling is showing you there's something underneath there that you need to take a look at. And it's depending on how traumatic that something is that you need to take a look at, that resistance is going to be really strong or not so strong. And your job is to push through that resistance to go into that place we just discussed of meeting the self and being willing to breathe into it and look at it and find where you let go of your own energy, your own power, where you gave that up or gave into some limiting belief or limiting thought pattern or to somebody's thought of you, which nobody has power over us or more answers than you do. You have your own answers. So we reclaim that. It's a process of reclamation. And again, I do have a YouTube channel. If you'd like to check them out, there's a lot of tools on there. Michál, Anna, there is a video on reclaiming your power and trauma that explains this whole process. Please utilize it. It's got lots of pearls, and that's part of the system. So anyway, that is a really important part, is that reclamation. And as we reclaim those pieces, as Eila was saying earlier, then we find more ways to show up with someone else and have a conversation and feel in control of this vessel. Because if I'm not in control of it, somebody else is, or a program is, or a trauma, or a feeling. So what does that mean? So like, for instance, if I was harmed. I'll give you obvious one. I was yelled at, I was hurt, I was abused. That's an obvious one. I'm going to either enact that as the continued programming of that same behavior, or I might be more controlling, or I might do the same behaviors, right? So now maybe I'm navigating anger or defense or some of these aspects. So whenever you were to get angry, right there is your cue. there's something underneath that. It's actually trauma. And what is it? Well, it's the father that was doing those or perpetuating the act. So if the person's able to take a look at that, go within, go back in, and do that reclamation process, and that is a daily process of reclaiming through meditation tools and through, feeling into yourself, as well as stalking your mind so you can make a different choice about how I want to show up, as well as feeding your vessel good food, health, fruits, vegetables, things that support a body that runs efficiently and isn't blocked or clogged, because it's difficult to run light through your system if you have clogging and blocks. That's a whole nother topic. However,
but it's all part of what's important in our process of life is,
right,
making the body clean. And you can just decide that today. It doesn't matter what you did yesterday and
That's
last
right.
year or last month and blah, blah, blah. It's really just today. You start you turn the radio off later, and you go to the store, or you pick out of the refrigerator the foods that are good for your body, and you know what they are. They don't have a lot of preservatives and sugars, and so you start one step at a time, one foot in front of the other. And then when you slip, you be kind to yourself. You'd be
That's right.
gentle with yourself. You say,
no judgments ever.
I
The
went and
judge
did
is
that.
a program.
Yeah.
It's a program.
Yeah.
Don't listen.
yeah,
Name it and then kick them out of your meetings. Every time they show up at your internal meeting, kick them out. Gertrude, the judge, get out of here. You're not welcome at this meeting.
Gertie the judge.
Yeah, I ain't having it.
Judy judge.
Judy judge, whatever. Not happening. Sorry, get
Yeah.
out. There's no judgment here. And that comes back into unity, because whether or not you feel it or not in this moment, the truth is we're all fabulous. We're all amazing. We're all facets of the infinite. And we're all equally amazing. There's no better thans, no hierarchies. That's actually false, and that's
Yes.
part of the duality programming. So the unified programming, the unification of coming into that equals, hey, everyone's amazing and there's enough for everybody, and we can co-create with balance and harmony, recognizing that you're awesome and everyone has just different gifts. We're all slightly different. There's some things that are really recognizable and have really similarities with someone, right? Other people really different. But we have other places where we can meet, and we just get to give thanks with those opportunities and places. We get to co-create. We get to meet one another, get to come into that co-creative place. Earlier, Eila was talking about everyone being your reflection, and we were saying I'm another yourself. So instead of having a half hour where you're both in programs and triggers, and you spend 30 minutes with someone
Going
feeling
nowhere,
horrible.
yeah.
Instead, you could actually both spend time with God, with one another, resonating in the energy of love, and just experience love, loving communion, loving grace, loving connection, seeing one another authentically, experiencing this moment now. Much like I feel with Eila right this second as I'm looking in her eyes, honestly. Like, what a gift that I get to sit here with her. It's
In
beautiful.
full presence. In full presence. Thank you. Yes.
I am grateful.
Me too. Me too. I want to say a couple of things came up for me when you were talking. One thing that I've struggled with over my life, or dealt with, or dark side, or whatever, is coming to realize I can't fix you. The you being somebody else. Somebody else is, I can see, maybe they're in judgment, maybe they're in whatever they're in. And I see it's not going well for them, whoever that person is. And there is this part of me that just, it's like, I just want to fix it. But by doing that, or by even thinking that way, I'm really disempowering that person. They have as much as I have. We all have everything we need to work through things. It's always free will. It's always up to us if we want to go through that process. And I can't make another person go through that process if they don't want to. And it feels very unhelpful for me to even ponder that. It's more important to let go and let God.
Yes. There's nobody out there.
Right. Maybe they're just showing me that to make me sharpen that part of me where I used to want to fix to get away from that. I don't know. I'm still figuring
Well,
it
I'm
out.
going to offer a little bit of something on that. There actually is something called, well, it's going to go common, but crucifixion programming. And it's laid heavily on our planet, to be quite honest.
Wow. That's quite the word.
But just think of it this way, martyr programming. Well, you're a martyr. What do you think? You got to save everybody, savior programming that we think we're supposed to save. And honestly, most of us who've been on the healing arts at some point felt like you could save someone. I thought I could save someone
Me too.
But you know what? I can't. And I let go of that. Like, I'm done with that. I'm done with that martyr thing. I'm done with the savior thing. I'm done with all that.
Yeah.
And you know why? Because I can only save myself. In the process of peeling away my own layers, I was, helping others along that whole pathway. And sure, I've been of value and of service, and I'm grateful for that. And I'm also not responsible. Like, I can only be of service, and if it's helpful, great. If it's not, I mean, we're all on our own journey, and I can give and offer tools. Like, sometimes it's miraculous, and it's amazing, and like, oh my God, how great that we get to do this. And it only comes with that letting go, being unattached and allowing it to unfold.
Allowing it to unfold in its time, maybe not my time or your time, or just it's up to that person and where they are.
Well, yes.
Yeah. And the other thing I wanted to bring up was I definitely get triggered when I feel someone is not honoring my truth. Like, I speak my truth and then they say like I didn't even say that. Like, it's not honored, it's not respected. And I'm looking to not be triggered, like to recognize it and say, oh, that's where they are and that's what they're doing. But not be getting angry or being sad or...
Well, I could just tell you does this ring a bell? Or does this resonate right now? The need for validation or acknowledgement.
Yeah.
So that's really what it's coming from, is that need to be validated or acknowledged, and probably because you weren't validated or acknowledged somewhere along the line.
Mama, yeah.
There you go.
Love you, Mom, but you didn't do that.
So you get to forgive her, right?
Yeah,
and you get to look at where that comes from and realize that's not whoever I'm talking to. I'm not talking to my mom. That's just coming up because it's been there for so long. But then we realize once we heal that within the self, this is a great example, heal it within the self, now you're sitting with someone, they do the same thing, they don't acknowledge it because of their own stuff.
Yeah.
That's just where they're at. But you don't feel offended. You just feel like, and you might just instead ask a question because they may not be used to. You might say, so did you understand what I was saying? Was that clear? Do you feel like you understood it? And then, oh yeah, I really did. I liked what you said, but I want to talk about blah 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 blah. Now they've just given you your acknowledgement or validation, and it's real simple things, really sometimes, right? But you've asked for it because you realize I'm worthy of that, and this person just doesn't understand that. But maybe it is something I need, and I can ask for what it is I'd like to have without feeling any energies or feelings from this past wounding, because I've healed the wound. I've picked up my power, my pearl. It's back. I have it now. So now when that comes up, I can go, this isn't that. I'm worthy. I love myself. I'm validated. I can validate myself. Hey, did you hear what I said? Did you like what I said? Okay, great. See, I'm validated. See, I can give it to myself.
Well, and it's that asking also.
I can ask.
Yeah, we can always ask someone for something, and then let go, whether they're able to or willing to or whatever.
And we're asking from a neutral place, taking ownership for our wounding right there, right? I'm not saying, hey, did you hear me? Right? You're saying like...
drive it home.
Yeah, no, we're saying we're taking responsibility within ourselves. We're changing maybe our tone if anger or frustration was our norm. And we're taking a breath and we're choosing to deliver a little different and say, hey, I'm going to come from kindness and love, because that's a choice, and it is where we come from when we're in harmony with unity and the principles of source light energy. So we have to make active choices, and that's a great daily mantra. Today I choose kindness. Today I walk in kindness with everybody I meet. Today I choose that. If all of us just did that, wow. Where would we live? Oh, it'd be amazing. Let's do it. I do the Today I Walk in Challenge Kindness Challenge.
Oh,
to
I like
everyone
that.
out there.
I like that.
Yes, just mantra it out.
While you're walking, I walk in kindness.
To whomever I meet today, to whomever I interact with today.
Including myself.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely thyself.
Yeah.
Because again, there's nobody out there.
Who am I looking at over there, Michál? It's just another version of me.
It is another
Yeah.
reflection.
Another reflection.
Yes. It is amazing. So, unity is really it in letting go. Letting go. Gosh, I impart everyone to laugh. May you have more laughter and joy and cultivate joy, because laughing, we got to make fun of ourselves. It's really just don't take this stuff so serious. Think of it this way. You are in a giant video game and it is your game, quite literally, and you just are leveling up and getting your things and grabbing hidden powers and making it through adventures through your life. And that's, make it fun. It's exciting. Create jingles, things that, like I'm going in. Yeah, I'm going to see someone. They're going to activate myself. I'm going to get that. I'm going to be out.
I'm going to I can handle it today.
Make it. Make yourself, give yourself the mana you need, the energy you need. I have often said to myself, girl, cowgirl up. Some people think that's harsh. I'm like, no, it's good. I like it. Cowgirl up. Get your butt up and let's do this. You gotta give yourself what you need, right? Make it inspiring. Make it fun. It's your own personal game. I'm having the most fun with, who do you think? Me. That's him having the most fun with. I love all y'all, but I'm having the most fun with me.
Yeah, as somebody who likes to laugh and joke around and be playful, I feel how that energy changes things. We talk a lot about energy and feeling, and I can walk into a space and definitely feel like what's going on there, like if it's what the vibration level is, where it's at, and I'll do what I can to have a positive impact there, and then let go of it.
Let everything go.
Let it all go.
All you can really do is heal thyself and activate your own love. That's all any of us can do, is be the light. Just be it, right? We can be it. We can choose to live in kindness and harmony. That, to me, is a priority. And I can only say I hope that's a priority for everyone out there. and if it is, then we'll get there, And so that is what it's about, I think, is us rising into our love and compassion and grace. That is the opportunity offered right now on this planet, is to rise into a greater harmony, which requires
grace
all
was up for me this
to
week
be
too.
released. It requires you to forgive thyself, forgive all others, to release all emotion and trauma, and to move into a place of neutrality with the many, many, many stories that have been laid here in this planetary field. So this cycle ending and a new one beginning is the time to let go and plant the seeds of, I will say, your ascension into the higher self of all that you are. And may that be, may you have all that you need in that journey.
And one of the things that I find helps is paying attention to where you focus your attention. Because if you focus on what's not working all the time, you perpetuate that. So take note of, what are you focusing on? Where are you focusing your attention and your energy? And is that where you want to be focusing it? Or do you need to shift that, adjust it? Maybe a lot, maybe a little bit. Only you know that. Only you have all your answers. And we were talking earlier, I said something about harmony and freedom, and maybe that doesn't speak to someone. Someone else feels they have harmony down. They're not looking at that one. What values do you have? And there are places you can go online, for those of you who have access to a computer, and you can look up values and look at them and see what resonates for you. What are your values? What are your top few values? And pay attention to that, because when we're not living within our values, our body is not happy, our spirit is not happy, and each of us have a little bit different on the values. There's some things maybe we align with, but then maybe I'm looking at harmony and Michál's looking at something else right now. It's not, there is no right and wrong to it. It's just about knowing your own self and knowing what your truth is and what your values are.
Right, because there's no hierarchy or judgment. or any of those things.
Or better than, or yeah.
None of that.
Yeah.
And you brought up a great point, which I'm going to condense into energy flows where attention goes. I say it all the time. Energy flows where attention goes. So wherever you're putting your energy is what you're creating. And I had a great conversation with a friend the other day. We were talking about just the power of words. And I was sharing that, like, for instance, here's just a little example. Let's say you get a bill and that bill comes in. You're like, oh, man, I got another $200 that I got to pay out. Shit, I don't know where that's coming from. Okay, that's one way of greeting your prosperity. Another way of greeting your prosperity is, oh, I got a $200 bill. So I'm just give thanks right now for that extra $200 that's coming in on its way to me now so that all is well and taken care of. And I am grateful that it is done. So in that, every time you speak, you're praying. You are creating. You're spelling. Think of that. I'm spelling right now. You are casting a spell. You are praying. You are creating.
You're creating your reality
with your words and your energy and your intention. So if you just start today reframing how you think about your world, become a glass is half full kind of person. A kind of person that goes, the silver lining. Find the silver lining. Eila and I love silver linings.
I love silver
We're
linings.
really
I
into
can't
silver
help
linings.
myself.
I
but
can't
find
either,
them.
but find that silver lining.
People have been annoyed with me. They're like, geez, you always
Can't I
see
just
the
dwell in
positive.
the things I want to be crappy about? I'm like, no, but there's some silver lining over there. Don't you see it?
There's always something possible that's wonderful and magical about anything that happens. I don't care what it is. There's always a tomorrow that can offer us something amazing.
Right. So if you can make that choice within yourself, and a great way to do that is gratitude. Gratitude moves everything. I'm so grateful for gratitude because it's really helped me so much. I've been so grateful.
It's like the infinity mirror. I'm grateful for gratitude. I'm grateful for gratitude.
Know,
gratitude is grateful for I'm grateful for gratitude.
And I really feel like that because it's like it's moved so much for me in times when I really needed it to move a lot of things. So just know that if you can get grateful, and gosh, if you are in our community and you live here, you have a million reasons to be grateful just looking outside. We live in one of the most beautiful places on this planet, and I am so grateful to be here
and to be part of this community. With all of its ups and downs and differences, I do feel a lot of unity in this community.
Yes, and let's keep creating more unity in this community, and food sharing and helping one another and supporting one another. And if you need help, please reach out to me. Those of you who are connected on there's social media. A lot of we're all connected. A lot of us are all connected. We don't reach out all the time, but if we we need to make more effort to do that. If we really need help with reach out.
Yeah, just somebody to talk to, someone to listen for a little bit. That's why we do this show, and we make ourselves available to people to just simply share what's going on for them. Not the shallow stuff necessarily, but the deeper.
Well, as you know, right now you'll probably get the silver lining, so you got to be ready for that. If you just want to dwell, don't call me.
No.
So
I had a friend years ago, and we became friends. Well, we started out, she didn't like me at 15. That should have been the dead giveaway. But at 16, we became good friends. And she would often say, I was the silver lining friend. And she'd say something, ain't it awful? And I'd be like, oh, yeah, but, and bring something else into it. And I think she's still like that to this day. And she'd always say, well, I'm just a realist. And I'm like, well, I realize now, I'm not in that reality. That's it.
We all create our own reality.
Yes.
And that's interesting too. So just know that what's real for you is not real for another. What your experience of something is truly your own. We can be sitting watching a sunset and both having a very different experience, but having the same thing. So it is your reality. You are the creator of it, and you get to frame it. So play with it. Use your words powerfully. Take charge of your voice and how you speak your life and create each day. This is a very interesting thing I'd love to share, just even how we frame our work, right? So this is not from me. I was reading it from someone else who was speaking about the word job means suffering.
Oh, my gosh.
In Greek. And then you go to your job each day. You get up and say, good morning. Morning is like a morning. I'm sad.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually say good rising instead
Nice.
of good morning,
I like that.
right?
Yeah.
So I'm probably say good rising, great rising, good rising, grand rising. And then weekend, like then you make it to the weekend. The weekend. The weekend of the deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is like, oh, then you're tired. And then you mostly the American dream is to just go out and drink in the weekend, which is have some spirits.
Right, the kind of spirits that lower your vibration
your density,
and
lower your energy.
And you don't really connect with the spirits.
Yeah, because I hate to tell you out there, but alcohol can be a medium for, spirits. So, it's like a pathway.
But which kind?
Which kind, exactly.
Yeah.
The
Are you
lower
attracting
ones.
when you're getting
loaded? So then
loaded?
that sets you up to go back to work again on a good morning and wake up. When you're awake is like what? It's a death. Awake is a death.
Is when someone dies and you go to the wake.
You go to their wake.
Yeah.
So how are we using our language on an everyday basis? So maybe you say good rising, greet the day. Many here, we say aloha.
Aloha.
Even the word hello. Thank goodness we say aloha. And when we say the word hello, for instance, they're saying like you're saying hell. Oh. Hell. Oh.
I like aloha.
I like aloha a lot better.
That was one of my favorite parts of moving here was the freedom to express that.
Well, and when you are saying aloha, you're saying alo, which is to be with, and ha, to be with the breath.
The breath, yeah.
To be in oneness with the breath of life. So this is what we've been talking about this whole time, which is aloha, to be in unity, to be in lokahi. We were coming into that place of unification. And that's inherent when we say aloha. I am willing to breathe the breath of life with you. I recognize you to be the God that runs through me, for I am another yourself. Aloha.
I hope people can breathe that in right now. When you were talking before, you said something about watch your tone, be mindful of your tone. And that is something I am very sensitive to, people's tone. That someone can say, I love you, but if their tone doesn't back up the words, it doesn't necessarily have the meaning that maybe they intend to have. So I know a lot of people think it's I've been told I'm like too sensitive. Oh, you're too sensitive. I didn't mean it that way. You can tell me whatever you want about how you meant it. I can only tell you my experience of that tone speaking to me. Whatever the words don't even matter sometimes with certain tones, whether they're the most loving tones or the judgy tones or whatever. So think about that when you're talking, when you're listening. Pay attention to it. Maybe not, don't belabor it. This isn't like a hard homework assignment. This is meant to...
Well, it actually is a hard homework assignment, Eila. Let's be real. It's hard to change your behaviors. It is.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, it takes hunger.
Yes,
it takes
it does.
wanting it. You have to want to engage in a different behavior. You have to want to walk into more freedom and grace and higher vibrational thinking and experiencing more love. You have to want that because it is hard. It is hard to break through your patterns. It is hard to stop being a jerk. It is hard to, anger issues are difficult. The tone, it's difficult.
Yeah.
And it's
not
hard
everybody's
to move
and
through
not
these
everybody's
places.
ready to take that jump or take that leap or go through that fire, that difficulty, and we need to respect where they are. It doesn't mean we're all going at the same rate to the same place at the same time. That's not what this is about.
No, it's about being on your own path. So what gets to happen though is as you free yourself, then when let's say one is in a situation where they are with a very angry person or a frustrated person or whatever, bored person, any other person, that's not where you're at. Well, it doesn't matter what it is. So let's just say you yourself get yourself into harmony and union. Well, now when that person's in something else, it's not affecting you. You're not getting triggered. Right. You're not affected by the behavior. You can go, oh, well, I'm sorry for you on that, or good luck with that. I'm gardening. Have a nice day. I'm sure you'll work that out.
You allow that
energy. Well, it doesn't have to be
into
something to be engaged in because honestly, there's no hook.
Right.
If you don't have a hook anymore there, I'm no longer a victim, then you can't be the victimizer. If I'm no longer the abusee, then you can't be the abuser. If I'm no longer the codependent, then you can't hook in with my codependency. Because I'm radiant light. Nothing can hook into radiant light. I just shine. So I'm just shining, 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 and then you're just, oh, you're having problems. I'm so sorry. I love you, and off I go. Right now, that gets to be the reality. And then you probably end up making decisions eventually with, maybe those people, if they don't choose to walk into choosing I love you also, well, then I probably just am not going to be around you much because I probably walked away the second you started. I'm like, oh, okay, that's not my thing. Love you. I don't do anger. Bye. I'm out of here. See ya. Or I just move into a different task or whatever. I don't do board, or I honor you. I honor where you're at, and I'm here and I'm present. I'm listening,
but I'm not
also not going to
into
get
it.
hooked in. I'm not going to get
I think
involved.
that's the
I'm not
key.
going to take it on.
Yes.
I'm not going to solve it for you. I'm
we're not going to wallow in it
I'm
either.
not going to join you there.
Yes.
I'm going to
Yeah.
allow you to have whatever feeling you want. That's where you want to be. You want to be sad today, Eila? Great. You be sad. I love you. And I'm feel happy. So I'm going to go be happy. And it's okay. And the more we vibrate where we want to vibrate, the more our surroundings and the people that are around us vibrate at that same place.
Well, like attracts like. So the more you put out that kind of energy of joy and love and laughter and playfulness and kindness, the more you attract that into your life and the more of those people that come to you. Isn't that lovely?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Back to we're creating our realities. We're
Yeah.
creating it all the time.
I've been hanging out in town a little bit, and I go with the intention of seeing somebody, connecting with somebody on a deeper level, and pretty much without fail, somebody will walk by and say, "Hey, how you doing?" And we share a moment, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever, and then have a nice day, and it feels so meaningful.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I'm loving that.
I'm guilty of not going to town much. I am with clients.
That's not guilty.
No, I'm joking.
You're doing a whole
I'm
other
joking.
gig, honey.
I'm just never really in town. Although I might go to town after this and get some vegetables. So anyway, but it's amazing, this journey. And I just want to kind of, as we're about to part here, just remind you about some tools that are real, because it is hard. Real tools. You got to stock your mind. You got to use meditation. And it's really not even meditation. It's energy tools. It's going within, removing things that aren't yours, getting in touch, aligning your system, getting in touch with your chakra system, seeing that you have an energy centers that are navigating your whole experience, that there is programs and other things happening. Starting to breathe into just what can this vessel do? What does this thing I'm in have the capacity of? Getting to know your inner self and your inner thoughts and feelings and exploring that. It is, it's crucial. It's the only way. It is all that is. So that, first and foremost, and mantras are so easy to do all day long in yourself. You can reprogram your own mind by just speaking what you want it to be. I am worthy. I am loved unconditionally. I am kind. I am heart-centered. Whatever it is you want to breathe into your being, speak it. We just talked about the power of your words. So you're praying all day long. So put it in. Use it. I am abundant. Money flows to me.
Speak it as if it's here
already
now.
done.
Not
It's
I
already
want.
yes,
right.
not I want.
I want freedom.
I
am
am.
free.
Yes.
Yes.
That's right. Affirm it is done already.
I don't
It's
know
in
why that works, but
your
I don't have
being.
to know why. It just works better that way. It's already
Speak it,
there.
and so shall it be.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
take the power in that. And when you aren't feeling good, be brave and dive in. It's actually takes a lot of courage and bravery to meet the self. It's so not weak to acknowledge feelings. It's actually so brave to be in there. And I want to say an extra shout out to all the men out there, because honestly, this time is super difficult for you all. There's so much you're processing in your DNA and your lineages from the immense amount of wars we've had on this planet, the immense amount of things that have been going on over the millennia, as well as the intense patriarchal and egoic programming and separation that we've really been delving in the last 2,000 years. And it is literally, you all are processing so much of that. So I want to say to the men out there, thank you. And if you need help, and please reach out and keep going. And may we all shine bright and radiate the light.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Michál, for being here. Maybe people can just take with them the concept of that beautiful bright light as they go through their day and their week and their life.
That's right, because you have the power and nothing can take it away from you. You can only give it away. So radiate.
Radiate. Aloha, everybody. Have a beautiful day.
Aloha.
Aloha.